And we're live. How are you, sir?
Hello, sir. I'm good, and you?
I'm doing good. Good to see you again because it's been a while and we don't get the small passing conversations in the hallways at school about whatever movie or news
Yeah,
having to do with Hollywood. So it's good to see you again. Good to talk about movies again.
yeah,
Um, you have a big update as far as your own journey is
yeah.
concerned. Would you mind telling the people? They want to know.
I
You
decided.
don't have to go into specifics necessarily.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
you don't want to dox yourself or something, but
Jinx
I
it.
think it's big news, and I think it's
Yeah,
great news.
I'm going through the process of trying to study in the U.S. I've already been accepted, and I'm in the process of getting the visa to be able to go.
Much congratulations, sir. That's great news.
Thanks.
And you're going to be studying something having to do with film production,
Yeah,
something.
I'm doing. It's basically a production course that's not like it's focused on film, but it's a bit broader as well. You can do like you can be a music manager with what I'm learning. Yeah.
Nope. All right, all right. I hope you at some point figure out like, have you ever heard that the famous Spielberg story of what he did when he was young
No.
before he became a filmmaker?
Mhm.
He kind of basically snuck his way onto, I forget which movie studio it was, found an empty office and then just set up shop.
Don't know that story. I know the story where
Remember
he
that
met
story?
no, I know the story where he met a director, which is shown in the Fablemans. Like he meets
Mhm.
Ford, I
Yeah,
think.
John Ford.
John Ford. Yeah, that's like one of the final scenes in the Fablemans. That's all I know. But that's
Yeah,
that's cool.
it's famous like Hollywood lore. He just
Yeah.
kind of found an empty office and just stayed there. Started walking around, helping people make their things, and
Yeah, fake it till you make it.
he's, he had started making movies like as a kid with that little camera that his father bought him. So
Yeah.
he kind of had a body of work that if anyone asked him any questions, he can be like, "I did this,"
Yeah, that's shown in the movie too.
Yeah. So like, if you can do that, yeah, just pretend you're in charge,
Yeah.
and
Fake it till I
who
make it,
listens to you.
for sure. Yeah.
All right. So lots of stuff happening. I didn't get a chance to watch too much. However, I did see the Odyssey. You also saw the Odyssey, and you also saw Spider-Man, the new.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so we can talk about that. And then you mentioned something about the Damon Chazelle movie, First Man.
Yeah, I've been like I have this watch list which I follow to make it easier for me. Like once every 6 months I update it with like my priorities. And this was the next one. I saw it like in the past week. Yeah.
All right, okay, we'll get to that
Yeah.
first. With Mr. Nolan's what I think is his magnum opus.
Yeah.
I think this is the one. You know
Does
that
magnum opus mean best?
I think this is the one that he's going to be remembered for.
Yes, I agree.
That's what I mean. His best, debatable. You know what I mean? Because he's done so many consistently great things, just varying levels of great.
Yeah.
He can like stay in that stratosphere, and then there's some that you like more than others. Like
Yeah.
I think your favorite, is it still, which one is your favorite? I forgot.
I
Nolan.
before we talk about it, just my ranking. My favorite is still. I saw the Odyssey twice, so that kind of
Good for you.
solidified it for me. But my favorite's still Interstellar.
Interstellar.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Excellent choice. Some might say that's his magnum opus. Uh,
I think the
for
Interstellar, Batman in general, and the Odyssey are the ones who'll be remembered for a lot.
Right. Okay. I think for me, it's Inception will always be my favorite. Um, and I think purely based on it not supposed to have worked, I think Oppenheimer is just one of the special ones in my eyes because it's really about a bunch of guys doing math.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But there's so many different layers to it. And also, whether he particularly deserved it or not, it's still the movie that finally got Robert Downey Jr. his Oscar.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of, I don't know, like the Academy obviously has their bias with, like they wouldn't give Best Picture to The Dark Knight ever, or to
No.
Inception or Interstellar. They might for the Odyssey, I don't know. But Oppenheimer seemed like a necessary step in Nolan's career, both for him and for his like legacy, you know, because he will be remembered for winning everything with Oppenheimer, even though it might not be his best film, and it might be for some. Like it's my number six. I rewatched it before watching the Odyssey, and I loved it even more. Yeah.
And that's also a thing with Nolan. Like the more you watch his movies, the more you like them.
Yeah, every single film of his that is in my top seven, I've seen more than once.
Yeah, you kind of have to. I think the only one that I've only seen once is Insomnia.
I haven't seen Insomnia nor Following.
Which one?
The first
Following.
one.
Oh,
Yeah,
Following.
the first one.
Does it really count? Maybe, maybe not. But Insomnia was just that it's impressive to me, Insomnia, because it was, I consider it his second movie, because he did Memento and then he did Insomnia.
Hmm.
And so the fact with your second movie, you get Al Pacino and Robin Williams and Hilary Swank.
Yeah.
People sleep on Hilary Swank. but
3
she is-
Oscar winners.
Exactly. Exactly. 3 Academy. I think at that time she had gotten at least one.
She has more than one.
She has 2. Yeah, man. For Boys Don't Cry and for $1 Million Baby.
Yeah, I knew for $1 million.
I'm just not sure off the top of my head if she had
Yeah.
already gotten it by the time they made Insomnia. But either way, it's still like high caliber actors, not from Jump Street for him, but like right away,
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
You know, I've only seen it once. There's some, I guess it kind of drags the pacing of it.
Hmm.
It seems a bit sluggish.
I think it's the only one of his that he didn't write.
Probably, I wouldn't be surprised. But I saw it once and I'm like, this is beautiful filmmaking, but story-wise and pacing-wise just didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
Which he has obviously learned his lesson, because with the Odyssey, my God, like almost 3 hours, it did not feel like 3 hours.
He knows how, this is something I love. Like he isn't scared of making long movies. And that's like in a world where studios are trying to make shorter movies. Like even in the MCU, I love Fantastic Four, but that's one of their shortest movies and also one of their last few movies. That's like a trend we've been seeing with shorter movies coming out more and more. And like my friend Andre, he asked me before he watched the movie and I watched the movie, like, how is this story, like gigantic story, gonna be condensed in a movie? And I was like, it's 3 hours. And he's like, is that enough? And I'm like, I don't know. And it was absolutely more than enough. Like he cut what he had to cut. He kept what he had to keep. It was in terms of pacing and condensing, I think it's perfect.
And another reason why I say it's his magnum opus, because I feel like he is the only one that could have done it. Like when I released my review of it, the first thing I say in my video is that Christopher Nolan's the only one who understood the assignment. You know, because the Odyssey, here's the issue with the Odyssey, which I think a lot of people are misunderstanding, is that, oh, it's an adaptation of a book, so I guess they're thinking that you need to cover everything in the book, or at least some of the greatest hits. And what I always like to say, and even when I talk to some of my students about adaptations of novels or any piece of writing, is that you need to capture the essence of the text. It's not about a direct translation.
I think that's what Denis does with the Dunes as well, right?
Yeah,
Everything.
but he does kind of hit the story beats of the book, just about most of them, really. Whereas with Nolan, he took some creative license,
Yes.
but at the same time, it was really appropriate creative licenses.
Yeah.
You know, because the main thing that I guess what people also forget is that Homer is the first dude that put this story down on paper.
Yeah.
metaphorically speaking, it's probably parchment at the time, but this story was told for hundreds of years
Yeah.
before Homer decided to write it. You know what I mean? So it's like oral tradition. And I'm sure you've experienced this when you're telling stories. When you tell it to your parents and you tell the same story to your friends, it's not exactly going to be the same way.
No.
But I mean, you're going to put different flavors on things. You're going to emphasize certain aspects of the story. You might even fib a tiny to make it a little more sensational for your friends,
Yeah.
and that's what I feel he did. Like he made these changes to emphasize certain things of the story.
Yeah, I think it's more like you said, it's not an adaptation. It's just a retelling. Like he's just one more person telling the story. He's not adapting a once told story. It's a continuous thing. It's word of mouth, it's generations, it's history.
And if you go back and think about it, like every time something is happening, it's being told through a story. Like when Odysseus is talking to Calypso, like he's telling her the story, and then you see it projected on screen.
And that's very, very Nolan, right? Very, very Batman Begins, very Inception. A story within a story within memory.
Yeah, a half remembered dream, as they say
Yes.
in Inception,
Yeah.
And just now, I have two tiny gripes with the Odyssey. One is the fact that Helen of Troy has an identical twin sister. Because if you're the most beautiful woman in the world, the woman whose beauty launched 1,000 ships, then like, why do you have a twin? You're not unique then.
That's yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's a tiny gripe.
It makes sense. I didn't even think of that.
That's the only thing. And the second thing I have, it's almost like how sometimes your strength can also be your weakness, in the sense of it's so impressive how practical everything is. Like practical effect, there's no CGI. There's maybe some post-production polishing that is done. Yeah, but that whirlwind is real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those ships you see in the background are real ships. I mean, that is a 60-foot puppet for a Cyclops, but nothing is CGI. And then because in a world where everything is CGI, when you see something look so real, for me, like it took me out of it. Like I'm like, my feeling was, I can't believe this is real. He didn't use CGI. He doesn't use CGI. How is this real?
That's a little bit why it improved for me when I saw it again. Because you have that immersion factor.
Yeah.
Where you might not have in the first time because of how impressive everything is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And give me your thoughts on because I know you heard some of the pre-release nonsense. What did you think when you finally saw what was on screen and how it impacted the story for you?
For the movie, it worked perfectly. For the controversy, it made me so happy because it shut everyone's mouth. Because I mean, you see, like when you see the controversy before, you think, oh, this is going to destroy the movie both in box office and critical reviews. People are going to review bomb it. No, they're not. It's getting one of Nolan's highest ratings. It's probably going to make more than $1 billion. It's a success for the right reasons. It's getting popular for the right reasons because it's a specific vision. It's not a controversy based movie. It didn't get lost in that nonsense that people were talking about. Because the two people that were the center of the controversy were Lupita Nyong'o and Ellie Page. I think together they have 4 minutes of screen time, and they are not huge characters. I think Elliot Page's character is one of the most important characters in the film, but that's another topic. I think, yeah, it's nonsense. They got their mouth shut, and that's perfect because now we can enjoy it together as a film fan community, not as people trying to discuss or fight about nothing because it was nothing. I don't even like to think about it nowadays because like it's gone. No one's gonna remember the Odyssey for that, and thank God.
And the one thing that I appreciated about it was like what they were saying was controversial about their castings. I think actually adds to the story. Hear me out. So, Lupita Nyong'o, they're like, why is she black? Okay, first of all, she is objectively a beautiful woman. Okay, so that's one. And the second thing is that, and this is the thing about not just Nolan movies in general, but particularly the Odyssey, it just stays with you. You keep thinking about it afterwards. And I just was immersed in the story, except for the moments of disbelief, because I can't believe this was practical effects. I kept thinking about Lupita Nyong'o as Helen of Troy, and then it kind of dawned on me because I kept wondering why would he cast her, you know? And then, the epiphany came to me where it was like, okay, let's say he casted a beautiful blonde, a beautiful brunette or redhead or whatever that, has, light colored skin. Is she really going to be someone unique in that time? You know what I mean? So here we have somebody who is incredibly beautiful with Lupita. She's dark skinned in that world.
Yeah.
So now it makes her different. It makes her unique.
There's no other black actor, I think.
Yeah, so not and definitely not one that looks as beautiful as she does. So now she has that added unique appeal to her, not just beauty. Because let's say they casted, because do you remember watching Troy
I haven't
from
seen Troy.
Brad Pitt? Okay. Helen of Troy is played by an actress named Diane Kruger. She's a beautiful woman. Don't get me wrong. However, you see her and you're like, okay, yeah, you are pretty, but I can look down the street and find somebody who looks as pretty as you do. You know what I mean? So that uniqueness of the beauty is just kind of lost. Whereas with Lupita Nyong'o, it's like it's right there. It's like, oh yes, she's beautiful. Now she's unique because nobody looks like her in ancient Greece.
Mm-hmm.
So I dug that. Of course, there's the twin sister thing that I mentioned earlier, but okay. And then casting Elliot Page, to replace the draft dodging Robert Pattinson's character. I was like, he's just gonna find somebody to replace him to go to war. It's like, okay, you look weak enough that you'll do what I say. So go. Okay. You know what I mean? So I was like, brilliant.
Yeah.
It's almost genius level moves that he's doing. Like, I mentioned the thing like and you and I have had debates about this because more and more you and I talk about Kubrick, the more you like him, the more I hate him. And so like Kubrick, I'll give him this. He was a genius, like almost literally. But then there's a kind of genius that I think Nolan expresses sometimes, where he's thinking about things in a way that I think subverts the expectations of the audience. It's like if you just think for half a second, you see how the moves he makes make sense. But the fact that you couldn't think about it maybe at first pisses you off. But then once you let it simmer and marinate a little bit, you're like, oh, now I get it. And and so he strikes me as like the kind of chess player that Kubrick was.
Yeah.
In his spare time.
Yeah. And something that I think especially after a second watch, the thing that stood out to me the most was how beyond the spectacle, right? The audio visual spectacle, both practical work, both the fantastical exploration of the myths, right? The Cyclops and everything. It's profound. And that's something I cannot say about Tenet. I cannot say about Dunkirk. I cannot say about some of his films. I think his most emotional is obviously Interstellar. And I think this might be second place. Because especially in that monologue in the third. Not a monologue. It's like an extended sequence in the third act where he's talking to Penelope and Athena. Zendaya's Athena is also there. That's kind of I like when movies do this, even though it's a little bit elementary. I think it makes things not clearer, but more solid. You know, you can remember the film for that moment and remind yourself of why it's so great. It's like a thesis of a movie for me. It's it's like reflection on the foundation of peace, of honesty, communication, empathy. It connects those like very raw ideas to the war, the Trojan War, and automatically as human beings living in 2026, you're able to connect it to now, to today, and to the time that the gap that we have between 2026 and ancient Greece. And that's what really stuck with me, like the entire revisiting of the Trojan invasion, you know, the Trojan War invasion. That was everything to me, especially the moment where the it's not a twist, it's a reveal, right? About Zendaya's character, that she's basically Odysseus's guilt personified, that follows him throughout his journey. And that's like he uses that thematic depth to explore throughout the movie in a more subtle way, and brings it to light in the third act. And I think that that works perfectly. In terms of performances, I have a few like standouts. Something I want to know about how you feel, because I feel like I'm in the huge minority here. When we were talking about favorite actresses, I mentioned that Anne Hathaway was one of my favorite actresses. I did not like her in this. I think every scene she had, she was way too big. Like a normal conversation with anyone, she made expressions and phrases, and everything was way too much with her, I thought.
I guess what I feel in that case, one, she is great. I had to kind of have to remind myself that she won an Oscar.
She did.
Yeah, I forget which movie though.
Late Miss.
Les Mis. Yeah, that was a while.
Deserving. I thought it
Yeah,
like
I never saw Les Mis.
it's good. She's only in the first act, but she's really good.
Um, I didn't particularly mind because one of the things that I thought about, it didn't take me out of the movie. So it wasn't something that stuck out to me. But as I was thinking more about it, it made sense to me because she is going to be particularly sensitive and probably be overly dramatic because of the stress that she's under.
Yeah,
You know, so
I
that
get
was my takeaway from it. I can understand where you're coming from though. I just don't see anyone in that position being stoic.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's when I was like, to me, the standout performance is Robert Pattinson.
He is one of my standouts as well. I
He
think.
for me steals the movie.
Yeah, like
Absolutely steals the movie.
he's
You
such
know,
a
like
like in the end when they're doing the trial and oh it's your turn. No, I wait. That's so good.
because everything just from like his delivery of the lines, the expressions on his face when he doesn't have anything to say, it just oozes the douchebaggy character that he is.
Coward character, right? You have
Yeah, an absolute
you're
coward.
also coward, yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
so well done, you know. I
I
liked Matt Damon's performance as well. I thought it was with what he had to carry with that whole film. I thought it was really impressive. And another thing that I liked it from the moment I saw the trailer the first time, I was like, thank God there are no British accents. Because just by, I guess we're just conditioned as, moviegoers. You watch an old movie, it needs to have an accent.
Yeah.
They cannot sound American, you know?
I like
And
that.
and one of the things that uh I remember I watched the Odyssey. I watched it on Saturday, and on Sunday I started watching the episode of House of the Dragon. And then after about 10 minutes, I was like, I can't, because everyone has a British accent and they're all sounding poetic, with these, overly written words and phrases. And I'm like, just say what you feel, say what's on your mind. And that's kind of the takeaway I got from the Odyssey is like, I'm not worried about the poetry. I'm just more in tune now with what they're feeling, what that character is feeling in the moment.
Yeah.
And so there was like an accessibility to it where I didn't have to do any, poetic translations. Like what was it? Oh, there was something about the House of the Dragon episode. Is like, I am inundated with dilemmas and something, and I'm like, just say you're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just say it straight up. And that I got that a lot in the Odyssey, just saying straight up what it is. And so I think you're more in tune, at least I was more in tune with the emotion of what the characters were experiencing.
Yeah, it connects you better to it. Like it makes it a little more grounded.
Yeah, and I love that John Bernthal was up in that piece. He's one of my favorite actors.
Me too.
I saw an interview with him recently because he's also in the Spider-Man movie, right? From what I understand. The journalist pointed out that in almost every single role he is in, at some point he says, "Let me tell you something."
Let me tell you something. Every script he's in, everything.
Yeah, and I remember him saying that it wasn't something that he noticed, and then after a while he started looking for it.
Yeah.
Or at it,
Yeah.
for whatever reason. But I love that guy.
Yeah.
He's just like alpha male personified. Sometimes when I see him doing his thing, especially in The Walking Dead and him as the Punisher. So I love this.
You'd love him in The Bear. He is like the heart of the bear, and he's so good.
Yeah, I just love. A quick side note: do you know of like how he got into acting?
No.
So it was in college. I forget what reason but he was just absolutely atrocious as an actor, and he made this crazy choice to go study acting in Russia because that's where method acting comes from, Stanislavski, And so he went to Russia and studied acting, not speaking a word of Russian, and there was like almost like a connection I felt with him because here I was like, training Brazilian jiu-jitsu for the longest time. And then I finally got the chance to go to Brazil and train Brazilian jiu-jitsu there in the heart, so I was like, you took that risk. You didn't speak the language. I didn't speak the language.
Yeah.
Either in my particular case, and you just went for it,
Took the same risk.
Yeah. So there's that similarity, that connection I felt with him. But I'll watch anything he does. He's just one of these guys.
He's amazing. Even like he's not in the Odyssey that much, but he's great.
And that's one of the things also, like, I understand the gripe where it's like all of Hollywood is in this movie.
I love it. I think it's so cool.
It is cool. There's just the thing for me, I guess this would be my third gripe, is at times it did take me out of it. It's like, oh, you are in this too. You're in this too, so there was a little bit of that going on.
That's another thing that the second watch helps with.
Yeah. I imagine it would, because now you're like, okay, I know who's in this. I can just focus on the story.
Yeah. Please continue.
No. I was just gonna say that you can easily see how every character there could be a spin-off movie on them.
Yeah.
Like even though everyone is on screen, like Lupita Nyong'o, she's on screen for like what, 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes, something like that. It still has enough depth to it in that short amount of time where Yeah, there could be a whole movie about just her.
And I think it works even better with us knowing that there could be that different movie. You know, the backstory of Helen of Troy and Odysseus and everything. You know, and Telemachus, Robert Pattinson's character. Everyone has their own characteristic. Some other people I really enjoyed were Hamish Patel. I think he's great as like Odysseus' sidekick. Elliot Page, she's in one or two scenes, and the Hades sequence that was insane. I loved that scene. The performances, both Matt Damon and Elliot Page, it was perfect. But my favorite actor performance and one of my favorite characters was John Leguizamo.
Johnny Legs.
Man, for me, he could be nominated for an Oscar for this. Like he was so like emotive and sensitive, like the heart of the movie, you know, with the dog and everything. I thought it was everything from the beginning till the end. He was that through line for me.
I think of all the actors, he capitalized the most with
And
what
he
he had.
transformed the most as well, right? I could never see him doing this. He looks different. He sounds different. He carries himself as an old man, a blind man. And yeah, I think he's great.
Yeah, Johnny Legs. He's another guy. I grew up with him.
Yeah.
I grew up with him. Like, you know, everything from Hanging with the Homeboys, which is like 1990, early 90s. I want to say like 92,
Mm-hmm.
something like that, to his one-man shows that he did on Broadway, Mambo Mouth. I can't say the name of the other one, of the second one, because there's like a racial slur in there. So I can't really say it. The third one, Freak. The fourth one, Sexaholic. He is just, and that's why his performance in this is so impressive, because he is so funny. Like, I don't know if you've seen him in anything else,
I've
but
seen a few, but even in interviews, you can see he's hilarious.
he's brilliant comedic mind. I highly recommend, you might be able to find it on YouTube, his one-man show that kind of really put him on the map. It was the third one, Freak.
Okay.
You know, it's like an hour and change. It's just him on stage talking, you know, his life story.
Yeah.
But it's so structured and hilarious and emotional. Like it's just a brilliant piece of stage work on his part. And then the fact that he could be so dramatic in this, you know, like he's done dramatic before, but he didn't have the material in the past like he had now.
Yeah, this like who chose him for this was
That's an interesting choice too. Like casting director, I think they deserve an Oscar nomination.
yeah. They
Just
might win for
just
this.
being able to get everyone in this, like align the schedules and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Just
Can you give any final thoughts?
yeah.
before-
Final thoughts. The fantastical elements I think were insane. Like the sequences and the world. You know, the craft comes together with the ideas and the storytelling to create these larger than life moments with Troy, Cyclops, Circe, the Sirens, Hades, everything. My one gripe, I didn't talk like many gripes except for Anne Hathaway. I don't love the design of the six-headed monster. It seemed a little generic for me. I don't know, but the sequence is very well done. So whatever, that's just a gripe. It's like the first time I saw it, I gave it a 4.5 because I thought some moments were way too fast. But when I rewatched them, I didn't feel that at all. So it's a 5 out of 5 now. It's my number 3 Nolan. Yeah, behind Interstellar and Inception.
Okay. All right. I haven't thought about it that hard, but I think off the top of my head, I would put it top 5. You know, of the ones of my favorites.
Yeah.
Not with no objectivity whatsoever in it. You know, just like it's just so great, and I understand why everyone is flocking to IMAX to watch it. And you know, well done, sir. Thank you again, Mr. Nolan.
You won't love this, but I rewatched them before watching the Odyssey, Oppenheimer, and Tenet. And Tenet is not my number 4. Tenet is so good.
Okay. All right. Hey, man. Again, varying levels of great. It's
Yeah,
still great. It's just,
yeah.
not upper echelon, at least not for me. But maybe it's one of those things where, yeah, that's the second Nolan movie I only saw once.
That's I saw it twice.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it helps.
All right. Let's pivot to Spider-Man.
Mm.
This movie is getting all the monies already. It's absolutely insane.
It's the second highest grossing first weekend of all time, behind Endgame. It's unbelievable.
And from what I understand, it's just like strictly story and character based. None of the, let's jar in a specific political or ideological message in there somewhere. Let's just focus on these guys,
Yeah,
the characters that we've seen for at least three movies and any other additional movies that they've popped up in.
yeah.
Um, and
So
I'm all for it. Just
yeah,
give me a good story with good characters, but go. The floor is yours because I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't even written a review yet because I had to gather my thoughts, and now I think I have them aligned. This is like a classic Spider-Man story, and a classic Spider-Man movie. It does reminisce to those Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi movies, especially the first two. It reminded me a little bit of TASM 1, a little bit of Homecoming. It's a little bit of the best parts of Spider-Man because you have this after the end of No Way Home, right? No one remembers him, so he has to deal with leading his life alone. And the first 20 minutes of the movie is basically just a montage of how his past 4 years have been because MJ and Ned are entering college, entering MIT by the end of No Way Home, and that those first 20 minutes are just catching up with how Peter's been in the past 4 years. And how he's been is that he's been lonely and just being Spider-Man and ignoring Peter Parker. Like something common in psychology is that for you to be happy and healthy, you need to balance what makes you happy, what is good for you, and everything that is social. So you need to balance those two sides of your life, even if that is like school and hanging out with friends, going to work and going to watch a game with someone at night. You need to balance those things. And Spider Man isn't doing that. He's ignoring the Peter Parker side of himself. He's focusing in on Spider Man. I think visually, like this is something many people are saying, is that it's then Destin Daniel Cretton, the director. He did Shang-Chi and he did like some dramas before, Shorts of 12. I haven't seen it. I have just seen Shang-Chi. But he knows how to make a well crafted, a well constructed action set piece. And even in the smaller moments, like he's just in his house, he is walking in the streets, he's talking to Punisher, John Bernthal, or Zendaya as MJ. It's all very well lit, it's all very well constructed, even if it's the smaller sequences. So it's very careful and detailed in that. The web swinging is amazing. Like you feel like he's actually going through New York. It's very much like it's more practical than the past few Spider-Man movies. That's clear when you see it. You can see that it's Tom Holland in that suit. It's John Bernthal with that gun. It's everything that's actually happening, and it's great. I don't think I love it as much as some people because I think the third act doesn't work as well as they intended it to. Have you seen Thunderbolts?
Yeah, I saw Thunderbolts. Not a fan. You like it way more than I do.
I love Thunderbolts. This felt like
Yeah,
a
that's my take on it. Eh.
eh. No, I think it's one of the best of like post Endgame for sure. But the third act of Brand New Day is basically the third act of Thunderbolts, just less effective for me. It has some stuff that works for sure. Like Tom Holland's still did great work in the third act. The set piece is well straight staged. There's one action set piece in particular that people are going to talk about that it's great. But my main issue is something that I've seen people just praise endlessly, and I don't see it as the villain. And I'm not, like it's not revealed in any trailers or anything, so I'm not going to say anything. But the villain, they try to make us care way more than we actually do by the end, and it doesn't it didn't get me there as Thunderbolts got me there with Bob. And I love the performance, of course. It's Sadie Sink. I think everyone knows that, but I don't think it came together and it mashed as well for a Spider-Man movie. It seemed like it was bridging gaps instead of just flowing into this Spider-Man movie, you know. But the highs of this movie are very high. I think the dynamic between MJ, Ned, and Peter, now that they don't know who he is, it's interesting in a way that it hasn't been before, obviously because they don't remember him, but also because of how he needs to present himself for them, you know? There's the first half of this movie is perfect. There's so many sequences with him trying to not reconnect, but he's realizing he isn't able to live by himself anymore, and he's trying to take baby steps to reconnect with himself and with the people he loved, even if it's following Ned to a party. And yeah, I think the supporting cast is also great. Tremel Tillman from Severance, Lisa Colonzayas from The Bear, John Bernthal is really great. He has a lot to do here. Mark Ruffalo also really good, and Jacob Batalon and Zendaya are the heart of this movie. And this is one of Tom Holland's best, if not his best. I think it's Tom Holland's Spider-Man at his most mature for sure. I don't think it's as good as No Way Home, and I don't think it's as good as Far From Home. But I love Far From Home. That's something like only I love it as much as I do. I think it's on par with Homecoming, if not a bit better. As a Spider-Man movie, it's great. It has a few sidetracks I don't love, especially regarding the villain. But it's a very good MCU movie. It's not as good as the past two MCU movies, which were Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, but it's really good.
My one concern was how much they were kind of milk what you were talking about earlier of like, you know, Peter Parker trying to be friends with them, trying to connect with them in some way. And then there's, of course, the obvious sadness that we would feel as audience. And I'm like, I hope they don't like just go back to that well over and over again throughout the movie.
That's well balanced. I thought.
Okay.
I thought
I feel it's well balanced.
Yeah, in the beginning, you're obviously sad, like you said, because like he is alone and he doesn't have anyone anymore. But throughout, like it does. There's no, oh my God, you're Peter Parker. There's no moment like that. It's the sequence of events makes sense because you're constantly like surprised by where Peter goes in terms of trying to reconnect with them because he's not stupid. He knows they don't remember him and that he's a stranger to them. But it's so sad for him as well, you know, as it is for us. So it works very well. And there's one scene that is about that is probably the best scene in the movie. It's a rooftop scene between Tom Holland and Zendaya. It's very, very good. Like one of the best Spider-Man moments for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard only great things about the people who've watched it. Even with, you know, some of my students who have seen it, who are just unabashed Spider-Man fanatics, you know, in general, but I could tell that it was almost like a relief that the movie was as good as it was.
Yeah.
It's not like they liked it because it's Spider-Man. It's because Spider-Man means so much to them that they just want a good movie so that they can continue loving Spider-Man as they do.
Yeah, I love Spider-Man too. I've always he's always been very close to my heart, and this is just you're happy watching a good Spider-Man movie. You know, it may not reinvent the wheel as like no Marvel movies reinvent the wheel, and as a Spider-Man movie, it's really good.
Okay, all right. It's still I don't know if it's going to. Well, let me ask you this: Does it hype you up for Doomsday? I didn't think so, but I thought I'd
That's a
ask.
good question if you haven't seen the movie, because it does, like, the post credit scene does a little, but no, it's a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, I talked about it recently, and it's like because when I saw the trailer for Doomsday, I was like, I have zero emotional attachment to this upcoming movie. I have zero excitement,
And it's
zero.
so sad because this should mirror the feeling we got with the Infinity War trailer, right?
It should, but
No prep,
you
no,
know,
no, no prep time.
yeah, it's sad, but it's like, you know, hey, this is the price you pay,
Yeah.
for screwing us over for the last, what, 7 years? You know what I mean? So it's like, all right, it might be good, but it's definitely not going to capture that feeling that
Yes.
Infinity War and Endgame
Yeah, for sure.
were able to capture.
Uh,
You know,
the-
I think it's
the-
going to be at best. I think people will say this is my prediction. At best, I think people will say that it was better than Age of Ultron.
Mhm. I like Age of Ultron.
I do too. I just think that there are some moments. Well, we could talk about that some other
Yeah, yeah.
time.
But
Um,
you asked like if it makes me excited for Doomsday. No, but my complaint about the villain, it's not about Doomsday, but it's about like bridging those gaps with stuff that probably will happen. And I didn't love that. But in terms of Doomsday, yeah, I hope it's great. I hope it's not just a cameo fest. I hope there's a story and that the Russos came back because they liked what they were doing, that everyone does a good job, and that Captain America is in it for one scene and he leaves. And yeah.
yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right. Unfortunately, we got to wrap this up,
All right.
sir. But we'll continue this definitely, next time around. All right.
Yeah. We'll catch
All
up.
right. All right, sir. Thank you all for tuning in, and see you guys later. How do I stop recording? I'll just hang up.
Okay.
Okay.
All
I'll
right.
edit this part afterward. But anyways, again, congratulations on university.
Thank you.
Congratulations again on your EE. I'm still
Yes.
walking on clouds. I don't have any contact with Andre, but tell him congratulations
He
too.
was so happy. We talked. This is not gonna be in the
No,
podcast.
no.
He was so happy. He told me like, "Oh my
Of
god, I can't
course.
believe like Mr. Koolman was exact. He got
Yeah.
great. Yeah,
I was shocked because I think I told both of you guys at some point, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
yeah, but you knew it better than Mr. Liam for sure.
So, all right, cool. But anyways, all the best to you.
Thank you.
in
I'll
that regard.
keep you posted about university.
Yeah. And then